Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jessica, and today I want to talk about something that almost every English learner struggles with: overthinking before speaking. Let me ask you honestly, have you ever been in a situation where you knew the words, you knew the grammar, you even practiced the sentence in your head, but when it was time to speak, your mouth froze? You paused, you hesitated, maybe you even stayed silent. If that has ever happened to you, you are not alone. In fact, most learners face this exact challenge. You're thinking too much, worrying too much, preparing too much. And in the end, you're not talking. That's why today's episode is called Stop Thinking, Start Talking. Because the truth is, fluency doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being active. It comes from opening your mouth and letting the words flow, even if they are not perfect. So in this episode, I'm going to guide you through why we overthink, how to break the habit of hesitation, practical techniques to push yourself into speaking, and small daily exercises to train your brain to be more automatic. I'll also ask you some reflective questions, so I want you to treat this like a real conversation between you and me. Ready? Let's dive in. Part 1. Why do we think too much before speaking? Let's start with the problem. Why do we overthink? Most learners pause and freeze for 3 big reasons. Fear of making mistakes. You're worried others will laugh at you or judge you. Translating in your head. You form the sentence in your native language first, then try to translate it. Wanting to be perfect. You don't want to speak until the sentence is 100% correct. Now, let me ask you this. Do you ever wait until every single word is perfect before you speak in your own language? No. You just talk, you correct yourself if needed, and the conversation continues. But in English, learners often create this mental traffic jam. Too many cars or too many thoughts get stuck. So here's the first key mindset. Communication is more important than perfection. If you wait for perfection, you'll stay silent forever. Take a moment right now. Think about the last time you stayed silent because you weren't sure your English was good enough. Got it? Okay. Now imagine if you had just spoken anyway. Maybe your grammar wasn't perfect. But would the other person have understood you? Probably yes. That's the power of action. Part 2. The power of immediate response. Now, let's imagine a scenario. Someone asks you, "What do you do for fun?" If you start thinking, what's the correct grammar? Should I say I like or I enjoy? Oh, what if I pronounce it wrong? By the time you're ready, the conversation has moved on. Instead, try this. Answer immediately with the first phrase that comes to your mind, even if it's simple. You could just say, "I like music." Done. Fast. Simple. Communication successful. Here's the secret. Fluency is speed, not complexity. The faster you respond, the more fluent you sound, even with simple words. Let's try a quick exercise. I'll ask you a few easy questions, and I want you to answer out loud. Don't pause, don't overthink. Just speak the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready? What did you eat for breakfast? What's your favorite color? Who is your best friend? What's one country you want to visit? Did you answer quickly? Or did you stop to plan? If you answered immediately, congratulations, that's fluency training. If you paused, don't worry, we'll fix that with practice. Part 3. Replacing thinking with talking. Now, here's the tricky part. Your brain has been trained for years to think, then translate, then speak. We need to break that cycle. One powerful method is self-talk. Yes, talking to yourself. You might feel a little silly, but it works. Here's how. Throughout the day, describe what you're doing in English. For example, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm walking to the bus. I'm cooking rice. You don't need to think deeply. Just narrate your life. By doing this, you train your brain to talk first instead of thinking too long. Another method: set a speaking timer. For example, pick a topic, like your favorite movie, and speak about it for 60 seconds non-stop. Even if you pause, even if you repeat yourself, just keep talking. This builds your ability to keep going without freezing. Let's try a quick one together. Imagine you're telling me about your favorite food. You have 30 seconds.
Go.
Pause 2 seconds, okay? Did you try it? See, even if it wasn't smooth, you completed the challenge. And that's progress. Part 4. Using fillers like a native. Now, let's address something important. Everyone pauses. Even native speakers. The difference is that natives don't pause in silence. They use fillers, small words that keep the conversation alive while they think. Examples. Well, actually, you know, let me think. That's interesting. So if you get stuck, don't freeze. Use a filler. For example, question, what's your dream job? Instead of silence, say, well, that's a good question. I think my dream job is, did you notice? You bought yourself 3 to 4 seconds to think, and it sounded natural. Let's practice together. I'll ask a question, and you answer using a filler. Question. What do you usually do on weekends? You could start with, let me see. I usually... Question. Do you like sports? You could start with, well, actually, I like... This is how you replace silence with sound. And that's how you break the habit of freezing. Part 5. Small wins lead to confidence. Now I want you to reflect for a moment. Why do you want to stop overthinking and start talking? Is it for school, work, travel, making friends? Hold that reason in your mind, because this reason will give you energy to practice, even when it feels uncomfortable. Here's a truth. Confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Confidence comes later. Every time you open your mouth and speak, even imperfectly, you win a small victory. These small wins build into confidence over time. I remember one of my students, Arjun. He was always silent in class, even though he knew so much.
Why?
He was scared of mistakes. But I encouraged him. Just say one sentence today. Doesn't matter if it's wrong.
He did.
The next day, he spoke 2 sentences. The week after, he gave a short story. And now, he speaks for 5 minutes without stopping. That transformation didn't come from thinking. It came from talking.
One small step at a time.
Part 6. Daily Practice Routine Preview. Later in this podcast, I'll share a complete daily routine you can follow. But for now, here's a simple preview. Morning. Self-talk about your plans for the day. Afternoon. Do a 2-minute speaking challenge on a random topic. Evening. Retell one story from your day without stopping. This doesn't require books, teachers, or even internet. Just you and your voice. The more you do it, the less you think and the more you talk. Okay, my friends, we've reached the halfway point of today's episode. So far, we've talked about why you overthink, how to answer quickly, how to replace silence with fillers, and how small wins create big confidence. In the second half of this episode, I'm going to give you more powerful exercises, a step-by-step daily plan, and some motivational stories to keep you going when practice feels tough. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me for part 2 of Stop Thinking, Start Talking.